Hey guys, how are you? I hope you're all doing very well. This afternoon I'm going to be doing a review of an action film from Norway. This is spoken in the Norwegian. You've got Norwegian, Russian, German, English and Finnish. So a lot of languages, all in the English subtitles. Released in the year 2008, directed by Espen Sandberg and Joaquin Roning. And this movie is called Max Manus, Man of War. So the story to Max Manus is as follows. An explosive, adrenaline-pumping thrill ride from start to finish. This incredible true story of Max Manus, leader of the irrepressible Oslo Gang, whose urban guerrilla war against occupying Nazi Germany helped free the country and establish Max as a living legend. So basically what it is a biography on Max Manus, who is one of the greatest war heroes, not only in Norway, but the world during World War II under Nazi occupation. So the Nazis have overtaken Norway. A lot of the Norwegian nationals are furious about this. They want their old country back, but no one else is game enough to do anything about it. So they're basically just surrendered to the Nazis and just turning into Germany. A lot of the time these Norwegians are saying it's going to be pretty soon before we're going to have to start learning German. So there are a handful of people who hate this, and Max Manus is amongst them. And he nicknames his group of people as the Oslo Gang. Now what the Oslo Gang are going to do is going to take it back to the Nazis and going to basically do some terror attacks. So they've got these establishments where they're going to basically blow up something that belongs to the Nazis that's very crucial to their occupation, and it's basically going to send out a message to the Norwegian people that this is the way to go and this is what you have to do in order to get back what is theirs. So what happens at that point on is just a very thrilling ride into loyalty, courage, and also basically having patriotic people and what you're willing to do in order to stand up against evil. So that's all I'm going to give in the synopsis. If you want to know what happens at that point on, it's something you're going to have to find out for yourself. Now my thoughts on Max Manus. I really haven't heard too much about this guy. Now being a biography sort of film, I knew that this was going to be really interesting. Now I don't know what is true and what is, creative liberty. For a movie like this to work, you need to take a few creative liberties because otherwise it's just going to be a little bit boring. So this movie does bill itself as a biography, as a drama, but more so as an action film. And so for that, I thought, being a Norwegian film, Scandinavian cinema has been really respectful lately. And this movie is no different. I thought it was really, really well made. It's a gorgeous looking film. And I thought it wasn't only an action film, it was a very touching drama about the human spirit and friendship and loyalty and what happens to when violence hits somebody and how, other people react to violence. And it's not every day that you get a Rambo character who blows up all these people and he just goes about his daily business as though nothing's happened. And so that's what makes Rambo and films like The Expendables. They kill all these people without having any repercussions of guilt or being haunted by what they've done, because killing someone is a major thing. And what I liked about Max Manus is, yes, it is an action film, but the killings come with a price. It hits them hard, and that's what makes it realistic. And although it is an action film, it has that strong sense that it is a biography. It is a movie outlining what this guy did. And it makes it even more heroic, but it makes it even more likable in the fact that Max Manus, he feels bad about what he's doing, but he has to do it. And then when his friends start to get into trouble, this is what also creates that bond, is that the sense that these people are doing something for their country, for the love of their country, and also for the love of each other. And when bad things happen, you feel so much sympathy for it because you feel that it hits these people very hard. These people are more than just 2D cardboard cutouts. These are real people who have been put into a really terrible situation, and the action sequences were done brilliantly. I thought it wasn't over the top, it wasn't exaggerated to the point where you're watching a movie. It wasn't a movie made for entertainment purposes only. It was a movie outlining a very courageous person, and I thought the movie did it justice because, yes, it is very thrilling, but at the same time, it's level-headed. It's not going too far out of the realms of reality, and I thought it's a good way to honour what was a very courageous person. Now, cinematography is excellent. It's a very authentic World War II feel. I'm not really familiar with the Nazi occupation of Norway or Scandinavia, the Scandinavian region in general. So it was very interesting for me to see how Norway and how Sweden coped with being occupied by Germany, and how their defences weren't enough to cope with the might of the Nazi regime. So I thought it was very interesting in that part of the world. in the World War where I didn't really know too much about it. It was giving you a little bit of an insight. So it was a history lesson, and it was an action film, and it was also a human drama. So the strength against the human spirit, we've seen it many, many times before in World War II movies where people stand up to the Nazis. But this movie does it very well. I thought the acting was incredible. There are some very familiar Norwegian actors in the film. I can't recall their names. I'm not too familiar with them, but I have seen them in other films. I think the main character who plays Max Manus also played the main character in Headhunters, if I'm not wrong. So he did a great job. As I said, he had a lot to play with. It's a very rich character, and it produced a lot of variety in that character when he's being caring, and then when he's having to kill somebody. And it never stretches it. You never say to yourself that wasn't realistic. His reaction to some certain event was out of place. It was all in place because, as I said, he doesn't necessarily like what he's doing. He's not a sadistic psychopath. He's doing it in the name of his country and for something awful that is happening. The bad guys, it is a little bit black and white, Nazis being bad and the good guys being good. And yes, Nazi and the Third Reich was awful. I'm not saying they're good. But there are movies where it does paint the Nazi sort of soldiers and commanders as real people. But this movie, for the sake of entertainment, and I didn't really care too much about that because of the fact that it's not about the Nazis, it's about Max Manus. So the Nazis could have been painted in a stereotypical way, and it wasn't a problem. They spoke German, which I like. I hate it when these films depict Germans in speaking English, but this one, it does have a wide range of languages, which also contributes to the realism. So the runtime of the film is nearly 2 hours. Now, a lot of the movie I really liked, but there were parts of the movie where I thought it got stuck a little bit. And I thought that the movie goes along at a very brisk pace when the action sequences are happening. But then all of a sudden it'll stop and it'll start talking. And I would have liked it to have just a little bit longer in the action sequences because it was so on the edge of your seat sort of stuff, and that it just lets you off the hook, and then it lets you have a breather, and then it goes back into the action sequences. Now, I can appreciate the fact that it wasn't all non-stop action in real life, but I thought it could have been just a little bit more entertaining than it was. And I thought, just splashing a few more action sequences in the film would have made it brilliant because there were moments there where you're on the edge of your seat, you're about to, completely lose it as far as suspense is concerned, and then all of a sudden it stops, so you get a breather, and that's what it's allowing you to do. So on one hand, I didn't like that aspect, but on the other hand, I can appreciate it for what it was doing, and so what it was is a biographical sort of piece, and it wasn't necessarily an action film as far as entertaining is concerned. So it's nothing like Rambo, it's nothing like The Expendables. If you want a film like that, then stick to Hollywood, but if you want a movie that is World War, that is a human spirit sort of drama, and it's also an action film, then this is definitely one to check out because I thought it was handled very, very well, and I was a big fan of it. So overall, for Max Manus, Man of War, I'm going to give it 4 stars, and it's going to come recommended. Alright guys, it's my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later. Bye.